Making to-do lists, scheduling appointments, and writing in your calendar is one thing, but if you find it hard to actually get started on a task or know what task to even start on, then this system might really help you. So it's been a super long time since I found a system that's resonated with me as much as GTD has, and I'm super excited to talk about the Franklin Covey planner system today because it's been helping me prioritize tasks and my daily planning, which I felt like is something that the GTD method was really missing. So in this video, I'm gonna break down what the system is, how to implement it in your planner, and how it can supplement the GTD method if you're currently using that system. And I'll have everything linked down in the description box below, along with any products or resources. And by no means am I a pro at this method, so I highly recommend that you check out those proper resources below. The Franklin Covey planner system is focused on time management and prioritizing our key tasks around our core values because we all have limited time. No matter how rich you are, how smart you are, how famous you are, we all only have 24 hours in a day. It was first developed by Richard Winwood in 1984, inspired by Benjamin Franklin's autobiography, but really I think it was popularized by Stephen Covey, who is the author of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Winwood and Covey's companies merged, and that's why it's now called Franklin Covey. While I love the GTD method for organizing all of my to-dos, tasks, ideas, etc., it doesn't really speak to how I should prioritize those tasks and what I should do on a daily basis. And this is where I found the Franklin Covey planner system really shines. So today I'm going to break it down into 3 sections for you so that you are able to implement it into your daily planning. So I've always been a pretty functional planner in the sense that I have something I need to do, I write it down, and then I go and do it. I've never been very good at setting goals or thinking about what matters to me in life or questioning why the heck I'm doing something. Until last year, my mom actually passed away unexpectedly, and I went through this existential life crisis and started thinking more about, what's the meaning of life? What do I value and what's important to me? And that's where I really started seeing the importance of having this higher arching purpose to drive our daily actions. And so when I learned about the Franklin Covey method and how it talks about first determining what your core values are and how it impacts the roles that you play and having that drive your day-to-day action plan, it really resonated with me, probably for the first time ever. So for example, if your values are growth, family, life balance, these could stem from certain roles that you play and the way that you want those people to see you or the way that you want to interact with those people in the roles that you play. So for me, I am a mom of 2 young kids, 2 young girls, and I want them to see me as loving, fun, patient. And because of that, I value balance and adventure and family. And with that, these values might not just be related to one role because you obviously, as a person, play multiple roles. You are a mother, a daughter, a sister, a friend, an employee, a boss, a creator, an influencer. It could be a multitude of things, and these values can apply to many of those roles, but likely they're stemming from some sort of role that you're playing. So how this gets incorporated into your planning is that you ensure that these values and roles that you're playing are put at the forefront of your weekly planning. So you might have heard of the weekly compass sheets, which kind of look like this. Now, I obviously do not have the actual Franklin Covey ones. I just created some inserts inspired by Franklin Covey, and it has kind of the similar information that the Franklin Covey inserts have. So I'll link everything down below if you want their inserts. So with the weekly compass, it's basically this little half sheet that I love because then you can kind of still see that it's separated from your weekly inserts or your daily inserts, and it keeps these items in the top of your mind. So I really love that it's this little half insert. And basically here, you're thinking about the roles and relationships and big tasks or rocks rocks that matter the most each week. So you don't want to pick more than 6 because that'll be overwhelming, and you want to be realistic with your time. So just focus on 6 big items. But this first section is basically always supposed to be your role as yourself. So oftentimes we forget to think about us and put ourselves first, but you really have to be in a good spot yourself before you can be there for others. So I really like that because I'm definitely one to forget about my own needs, especially with young kids. I like how here it gives you kind of these 4 categories: physical, social, emotional, mental, and spiritual. So what are the things that you're going to do for yourself in each of those categories? Then below that, you're going to have the other big rocks for that week. So they're going to be the main priorities related to other roles that you play. So it could be a mom, your role as a mom, a wife, a husband, brother, a sister, a friend, etc. And you're going to list, the big event for each of those that you want to prioritize for that week. So it can be something as small as, I'm going to spend 30 minutes of quality time with my kids after school each day where, there's no phones, no nothing, and we're just spending quality time. It could be, I'm going to take 1 day a week to have a meal just with my husband, again, no distractions, just having dinner and having a good discussion and connecting. So you're going to list those here so that you can reference it, and it can change week to week. So then when you go to do your weekly planning, and I just have these weeklies in the Franklin Covey bundle on my shop, but of course you can use any kind of weeklies. You can use a vertical, a horizontal, or whatever. So when you go to do your weekly planning, what you're going to do is schedule in these tasks first before you do anything else. So here's an example of my weekly planning, and I would just put this little insert in the middle here. And also sometimes I will plan on my digital planner, and I just kind of have it on the side, and then I have this little sheet here. And what I love about this is because for the first time ever, I actually feel like I'm prioritizing my days based on my values and what's important to me. Being so busy day to day with work, family, side hustle, it's easy to kind of get caught up in the daily whirlwind and forget what's important. Sometimes I can get super busy and I'm not so patient with my kids or my hubby, and I just want to get straight to my tasks, right? But having this, in my planner on my desk is a visual reminder of what's important in my life, and not just based on my emotions in the moment of, being stressed. So I'm just really finding that something this simple has really grounded me and, kept me on track of what's important. In the Franklin Covey planner method, it talks about this 4-quadrant time matrix, which is basically the Eisenhower Matrix, if you ever heard of that, and it helps you determine how to prioritize your tasks based on importance and urgency. Now, I don't find it super helpful in terms of I'm not going to take all of my tasks and plot them on this quadrant and then decide which one I'm going to start on first. But it is a good guide if you have no idea how to prioritize what task is important and what is not, to look at this matrix, learn the matrix, and have that as a general framework to determine what tasks are priorities. So I think a simpler way to explain this is just to show you the daily inserts and how I would use that to prioritize my tasks and manage my time. So here's an example of a daily insert, and it's a date on 2 pages. So on the left-hand side here, on the left side of this insert, you have all of your tasks for the day. And then on the right side is your appointment or schedule for any time-specific events. So here you would just list out all of the tasks that you plan to do during the day. And then here is any events, appointments, meetings, or whatever, and it's based on a timed schedule. Now, after you've made a list of all of the tasks that you're going to do, this is where you're going to start prioritizing them before you start to do them. And how you would prioritize your tasks is basically on an ABC system. So any tasks that are things that you have to get done for the day, no questions asked, they're must-do tasks for the day, you would assign A. Then if there's things that once you're done those important must-do tasks, the next set of tasks would be B. And the last one would be C, which are just, if you get to it, that's great kind of tasks. So this is where that time matrix can help. If you just have no idea what should be priority, you can use that to kind of guide you. But essentially for me, how I think about it is anything where There's no questions asked. It has to be done that day because the deadline is that day, are A tasks for me. And then anything where I'm like, if it's done, it's great. And if I can't get it done, it's no problem. Then it's a C for me. And then everything else is kind of in between and it's a B. After you have given a priority to each of your tasks, then you're going to assign it a number, which is the order that you're going to do those tasks. So you'll see here, I have 3 A tasks, which are tasks I have to get done for the day, and I've put a number beside them in the order of which I'm going to complete them. After I've done it for A's, then I'm going to go and do it for the B's, and then as well as the C's. And that way it's really easy to tackle your to-do list at the beginning of the day because you'll go straight to your A's, then your B's, then your C, and you're going to follow the order that it's in. A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3, etc. Now, the additional thing that I like to add here is kind of incorporating time blocking. So here I had my schedule of my important meetings or time-specific events, and you'll see that I have my meetings in my Outlook for work, and I'm not going to copy them all down. So I just use a little highlighter to kind of note that this is the time that I'm in work meetings. But I do like to time block when I'm going to do my task list, specifically my A tasks that have to get done for the day. So what I will do is in the schedule section, I'll put, this is the chunk of time I'm going to dedicate to doing my A list of tasks, whether I write the A tasks in or I just put A tasks is a quicker way to do it as well. And I just really like doing that because then I've blocked off some time and allotted time for myself to do those important tasks, and I just find it's better for my time management. Now, the right-hand side would be for your notes. And this is where you would just jot down what you need to for the day, but making sure to number your notes so that you can reference it easily in the future. And I'll talk a bit more about that in the next section. But for example, as you're going about your day and you need to make notes, you would just put 1 and then make your note, and then 2, make your note, etc. when it's a different point, and these numberings will come in handy when we're referencing it later on. So up to now we've talked a lot about daily planning and how to prioritize your tasks and manage your time day to day. But for those of you guys who might be interested in using the Franklin Covey planner system as a whole, you might be wondering, well, how would I use the monthly inserts, or where would I do my pre-planning, or how would I reference items? So now I'm going to talk about kind of those sections and those inserts and how you would use that into the system. So this is where I definitely think GTD is much stronger because it gives you a framework of how to capture everything that's in your head, not just tasks or calendar events, but also, long-term ideas or thoughts that you don't want to work on right now that you might want to figure out in the future, or items that you want to delegate to people. The GTD method really gives you a spot to capture all of those thoughts as well. But for those of you guys who do want to use the Franklin Covey planner system end to end, I'll kind of explain how you would use your monthly inserts for pre-planning as well as how you would reference certain items. So your monthlies is really where you're going to do your pre-planning. It's your inbox, is where you're going to make your reference notes, aka an index. It's everything for the rest of the planning system, I would say. So what it looks like is it has a master list on the left and then your calendar view on the right. So in the master task list here, it's an inbox. You're going to bring dump all of the tasks that you need to do for that month. And then anything that is time specific, you would put on the right into the specific day of that month. Now, in this little section down here, this insert is slightly different, obviously, than the Franklin Covey planner system. It's just inspired by them, so it has similar sections. But what I made this section for is an area to then put all of those notes where you want to index because you might need to reference it in the future. So if we were to go back to that page where I had the daily notes, so that was February 10th, and let's say I want to reference my first note. In this section here, I would then put February 1, number 1, and then I would kind of write what that note was about so that I could easily find that page in my planner. Does that make sense? So I just thought that was a really good way to easily have those important information highlighted so you don't have to flip through all of the pages.
Now, like I said, this side is really for a task list. This side is for day-specific events. So the thing that I had with this system that I feel like it's really lacking is the fact that what if I have a long-term idea or something that I just don't want to forget about? It doesn't really fit here or here, right? It's not something I'm going to work on. It's not something that's time specific. So while you can jot that idea onto this list and use it as an inbox, you will have to migrate it somewhere else. So with David Allen's GTD method, he talks about having this someday maybe list. And you can put all of your information in that someday maybe list and reference it later on. But here, we don't really have a specific spot for it. So of course, those kind of ideas I still throw somewhere else.
So how am I incorporating Franklin Covey planner method with the GTD system? Well, you can probably already guess that I'm really using it for my daily inserts only at this point, because I do find that its strong suit is how to manage your time day to day and how to prioritize your tasks. So I just find that it really helps me navigate those long to-do lists and gives me a sense of where I should start, what to do next, and so I don't have to think about it and sit there and decide what I should be doing. It's already laid out in front of me. And as well, I really do like that 2-page dailies, because now that I'm back at work, I do find the note pages is really helpful, because sometimes I'm on a call, I just want to, whip out a pen and jot down something really quickly. I find that it's really nice just to have a sheet there. I'm not worried about having empty space or whatever. I just use it if I need to use it. And then also I kind of like, if I'm trying to reference something on a certain day and I knew that I had a meeting that day, I can easily flip back to that page. Now for long-term notes or referencing, I would say I'm still kind of using the GTD method, where I would have that in a certain list in a certain spot where I'm actually putting all of my reference items so that I don't lose it. I just find it a lot easier that way than in my planner, where I'm taking out the inserts and archiving them pretty regularly. And that's pretty much all I'm using for Franklin Covey method, like I said, is the dailies, because I do really like how the GTD framework captures everything that's in my head. I love having a someday maybe list that is just separate from everything. I'm not going to worry about it for now, but I know it's something that I can go look at some point, and I'll never feel like I've, lost that idea. Whereas I do think in the Franklin planner system, I would probably lose it, because I'm not one to really flip back through my old planners that much for reference information. But if you are somebody who does that, then this could be a system that really helps you. Now, if you guys want another video kind of deep diving into me flipping through my planners and showing exactly how I'm using both systems and where I'm storing information and what I'm doing, let me know down in the comments below, because I do think that would be quite a long video, and I know this video is already getting long, so let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!